Okay, let's unpack this. There's a pivotal financial decision, really, that many of us are going to face. One that could, shape our financial security for decades to come. It's when to claim Social Security benefits. For those of you already familiar with the basics, today we're aiming to go beyond just the standard advice. We want to explore the nuanced, sometimes surprising reasons behind this big choice. Our deep dive today is all about exploring the two main paths: claiming as early as age 62 versus waiting until your full retirement age, or maybe even later. It's a complex decision that mixes hard numbers with really personal stuff, like your health, your financial situation, and even how you actually picture your retirement years.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here, I think, is that while the Social Security rules might seem pretty straightforward on paper, the right answer, it's almost never the same for any two people. This deep dive is really designed to help you understand the full landscape of this critical choice. We're drawing from a stack of sources that lay out the facts, the pros, and yeah, the often overlooked cons of each path. At its core, it really boils down to a fundamental trade-off, doesn't it? You get immediate income at 62, but it comes with permanently reduced monthly payments. So for someone whose full retirement age is, say, 67, claiming at 62 means roughly a 30% reduction. And that's a real impact. If your full benefit was going to be $2,000 a month, claiming at 62 drops it to about $1,400.
Wow, yeah, that's a significant difference right out of the gate. But what about the other side of that coin? What happens if you can wait?
Right. Conversely, if you have the capacity waiting beyond your full retirement age, right up until 70, well, that offers a pretty significant upside. Your benefits increase by 8% per year because of delayed retirement credits. So that could mean a 24%, maybe even 32% increase over your full retirement age benefit amount. And that compounds. So for that same $2,000 FRA benefit we mentioned, waiting until 70 could push it up to like $2,480 or even more per month. The core mission today is really helping you weigh that immediate cash versus potentially much larger long-term growth specifically for your life.
Okay, so on the surface, waiting for that bigger payout seems like a no-brainer almost, but we often hear delay, delay, delay. Is that really always the best strategy? What happens when life, throws you a curveball, something that makes claiming early not just an option, but maybe a necessity?
You've hit on a really critical point there, because while delaying often looks best on a spreadsheet, real life, well, it rarely follows the plan exactly, does it? You mentioned nearly 35% of workers choose that early path. And often it's not about optimizing wealth at all. It's simply about meeting immediate financial needs. Imagine someone, maybe in their early 60s, suddenly loses their job, or perhaps health issues stop them from working, or they just can't find decent employment anymore. For them, Social Security benefits become essential just for basic living expenses. In those situations, honestly, the theoretical advantage of waiting for a bigger check, it's irrelevant. It's just not an option if the alternative is debt or serious hardship right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. And beyond just the immediate need for cash, I've seen sources emphasizing how deeply personal factors, like your health, come into play. It's not just about if you need the money now, but maybe if you'll even be around to enjoy that bigger check later.
Right. Absolutely. Your personal health, your family's health history, these play a huge role. If you have serious health conditions or maybe a family history of shorter lifespans. Claiming at 62 could actually maximize your lifetime benefits received, even with the lower monthly payment. We often talk about the break-even point. You hear this a lot. It's typically somewhere around age 78 to 80, where waiting financially starts to pay off compared to claiming early. But the real insight there isn't just the age itself. It's about the utility of that money, what it actually does for you. For someone with chronic conditions, maybe heart disease, diabetes, cancer, having that, say, $1,400 a month at 62 when they're still relatively healthy and active, that might offer more actual value to their life than a higher $2,000 at 67 if their health or mobility has declined significantly by then. So the break even is personal, not just math.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's about when the money has the most impact on your quality of life. But what about listeners who are, let's say, financially sophisticated? They're comfortable. Is there an argument for them to claim early, even if they don't strictly need the money right away?
There is an argument, yes, but it definitely comes with a strong caveat, a big one. The idea is claiming early and then investing those benefits. It rests on the assumption that you can achieve investment returns that consistently beat Social Security's implicit return from delaying. But here's the thing that's often missed. Social Security offers a guaranteed return for delaying. It's effectively a guaranteed 6% to 8% annual return on delaying those benefits. Now, that's a really high bar for most low-risk investments to clear consistently year after year, especially in volatile markets. So while investment flexibility sounds appealing, The real insight here is that for most people, beating that guaranteed return from Social Security with guaranteed investment returns, it's incredibly difficult, which often makes delaying the smarter, definitely less risky investment for that specific slice of your retirement income. Claiming early can preserve other retirement accounts, letting them grow tax-deferred longer, but you absolutely have to weigh that against the guaranteed return you're giving up by not delaying Social Security.
It sounds like Social Security is offering this, I don't know, like a choose-your-own-adventure for retirement, but the stakes are really high. And this ties into something I've heard called the go-go, slow-go, no-go theory of retirement. Could you explain that a bit and how it relates to this decision?
Yeah, it's a great mental model, actually. The go-go years are typically those early retirement years. That's when you're usually most active, you have the energy to really enjoy travel, hobbies, new experiences, things like that. Then come the slow-go years, maybe involving a bit less activity, perhaps more local travel. And finally, the no-go years, which might mean staying mostly at home due to health limitations. So the idea is having, say, $1,400 a month at 62 when you're healthy and active and in your go-go phase. That might provide more practical enjoyment, allow you to live out those vibrant years more fully. Then getting a higher $2,000 monthly starting at 67 if by then health or mobility issues are starting to restrict what you can do. It's a really powerful reminder that maximizing a number on a page isn't always the same as maximizing your life experience.
Right. So if we pull this all together, claiming at 62 seems often driven by, well, real-world constraints, or maybe a very strategic, though potentially risky, financial approach. It's about adapting that sort of ideal scenario to your actual circumstances, whether that's sheer necessity or health foresight, or maybe a specific investment plan. Really highlights that the best decision isn't just about getting the biggest number, but about living your life, especially now. Okay, now let's flip that coin. We've talked about claiming early. So what does all this mean for those folks who can wait? There are some incredibly compelling reasons to delay claiming, right? Reasons that often lead to significantly higher financial security over the long haul. The main advantage, obviously, is getting the maximum possible monthly benefit by waiting until your full retirement age, or even better, age 70. You receive full, unreduced benefits for life or even significantly increased benefits. And given that people are living longer, many retirees well into their 80s and 90s, the cumulative advantage of those higher monthly payments can be huge.
For someone living to, say, age 90, waiting until their full retirement age could easily mean tens of thousands of dollars more in lifetime benefits compared to claiming back at 62.
And it's not just the sheer dollar amount, though that's significant. The long-term protection it offers is profound. Think about inflation protection for a minute. Social Security's annual cost of living adjustments, the SCOLA, they're applied to your base benefit amount. So a higher base benefit means larger dollar increases each year from the CCOLA. For example, let's say there's a 3% CCOLA. On a $2,000 monthly benefit, that's an extra $60. But that same 3% A on a $1,400 benefit, that only yields $42. Now, over decades of retirement, that compounding effect on a higher starting amount really enhances your purchasing power. It helps you keep up with rising costs.
That's such a crucial point, especially, with the cost of living seemingly always going up. And for married couples, I understand this decision isn't just about the individual claimant. It's about survivor benefits, too. Is that right?
Absolutely. This is one of the most critical and maybe most overlooked aspects for couples. For married couples, the benefit of the higher earning spouse typically becomes the survivor benefit after the first spouse passes away. So by waiting to claim, the higher earner can maximize this really crucial protection for the surviving spouse. This is particularly important statistically for women who often outlive men and may have had lower lifetime earnings themselves. Those higher survivor benefits can be absolutely vital for their financial security later in life. Delaying for the higher earner is kind of like buying a larger inflation-adjusted life insurance policy for their spouse, paid for by Social Security.
So it's really not just about your retirement income stream, but about building a stronger financial safety net for your partner, too. That's powerful. And for those people who plan to keep working after they start claiming benefits, there's also this earnings test to think about, which can catch people off guard.
Indeed, it can. If you claim before your full retirement age and you continue to work and earn substantially, your benefits can actually be reduced if your earnings go over certain thresholds. For example, in 2024, that threshold is $22,320 annually. For every $2 you earn above that limit, $1 in Social Security benefits is temporarily withheld. Now, while those withheld benefits are eventually recalculated and added back in after you reach your full retirement age, this earnings test can completely negate the advantage of claiming early if you're still working a significant amount. Waiting until your full retirement age eliminates this restriction entirely. You can earn as much as you want without any benefit reduction.
Okay, so for those who do have the capacity to wait, it seems like the question isn't just, are they leaving money on the table by claiming early? But maybe it's, are they building the most resilient financial foundation possible for a potentially long retirement?
Exactly. The compounding effect of those higher base benefits plus that critical protection for a surviving spouse. It really can create a truly robust and stable income stream that lasts a lifetime.
All right. Now that we've really unpacked the arguments for both sides, claiming early versus waiting, how do you, the listener, decide what's actually right for your unique situation? It's clearly not a simple checklist. There are several crucial factors you've got to weigh. Let's start with the hard numbers, your current financial assessment.
Right. First step is looking at your own finances. What are your current savings, investments? Do you have other income sources coming in retirement, maybe pensions, annuities, or rental income? And what about the other side? What are your debt obligations? What are your essential versus, discretionary expenses? Someone with substantial savings and diverse income streams might have far more flexibility to delay claiming Social Security, whereas someone with limited resources might genuinely need that immediate income just to cover basics. A key piece of advice we consistently see across the sources is aiming for a diversified income strategy in retirement. Don't rely too heavily on any single source, including Social Security.
And then there's that big unknown. How long do you expect to live? Well, of course, individual lifespan is unpredictable. Factors like your current health, your family history, lifestyle choices too, smoking, exercise, diet, and your access to quality health care, they can all offer some guidance, can't they?
They absolutely can. There are online longevity calculators out there. They can give you some estimates, though use them cautiously. They're just models, not crystal balls. But looking at the broader statistics, they do offer a pretty compelling perspective. On average, a 62-year-old man today has a life expectancy of about 84. For a woman, it's about 87. Now, this suggests that a significant number of people will live well past that typical break-even point we talked about, which makes delaying Social Security potentially very beneficial financially over their entire lifespan.
Okay. Another area that feels like it gets overlooked sometimes is taxes. How does the timing of claiming Social Security play into your overall tax picture during retirement?
Oh, this is critical and complex. Up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be subject to federal income tax if your overall income is high enough in retirement. Now, claiming early, especially if you're still working or drawing significantly from traditional IRAs or 401ks, that combined income can actually push more of your Social Security benefits into taxable territory. Conversely, delaying Social Security might open up opportunities for more strategic tax planning in those years before you claim. For example, you might do Roth conversions during those gap years when your taxable income might otherwise be lower. This kind of planning can lead to potentially significant tax savings over the long run.
Right, so it's not just about the benefit amount, but the after-tax benefit amount. And finally, let's not forget the emotional side of this decision. This isn't just math, is it? It's deeply personal.
It truly is. You see it all the time. Some people feel real anxiety about leaving money on the table if they delay. They worry, what if I don't live long enough to get it back? Others worry just as much about the reduced benefits from claiming early, fearing they might run out of money later in life. Your personal tolerance for risk, your feelings about, say, the stability of government programs, and just your general level of financial anxiety, all these things profoundly influence the decision-making process. The ultimate goal here is to try and align your choice with both your financial projections and your emotional well-being, finding that balance.
We touched on break-even analysis earlier, and financial planners use this tool a lot. But it's often presented in a really simplified way, isn't it? Maybe too simple.
It often is, yes. Those typical break-even points you hear, like 78 to 80 for claiming at 62 versus FRA, or maybe 82 to 84 for FRA versus 70. They're useful as a quick reference point, a starting guide. However, they are often oversimplified because they typically ignore crucial factors, like the potential investment returns you might earn on those early benefits if you invested them, or the tax implications we just discussed, which vary hugely from person to person. More sophisticated analyses that actually try to factor in these elements often show longer or at least more complex break-even periods. It just makes the decision much more nuanced than picking a single age off a chart. So for you, the listener, it's really about recognizing there isn't one magical break-even age that applies to everyone.
So it really comes down to this question for you, the listener. Are you focusing only on the numbers? Or are you also really considering how this decision impacts your peace of mind, your stress levels, and the actual quality of your retirement life? There's just no one-size-fits-all answer here, and understanding those personal nuances is absolutely key. Ultimately, I think this deep dive has really shown us that the decision to claim Social Security at 62 versus full retirement age or later is profoundly personal. It really depends on your unique circumstances, your health, your financial resources, and your own personal retirement goals and dreams. There truly is no universal best age that works for absolutely everyone. The optimal strategy often involves carefully coordinating your Social Security timing with your other retirement income sources, with your tax planning, and with your overall financial objectives. And look, many people find that consulting with a qualified financial advisor, someone who can actually model out different scenarios, that provides invaluable insight tailored specifically for your situation.
Exactly. So rather than searching for that single right answer, which probably doesn't exist, we really encourage you to focus on understanding all your options, the trade-offs, and then making an informed decision that truly supports your individual retirement vision and your financial security needs. And maybe as you plan for those later years, think about this final question. What truly defines a rich retirement for you? Is it solely about maximizing that monthly check, getting the biggest possible dollar amount? Or does it also include things like peace of mind, flexibility, having less financial stress, and maybe the freedom to truly live out those go-go years fully on your own terms?